What's up guys, I'm Fernape here. Now if you remember a while back, I made a video going over what I believe would be better remakes of all of the gym leader teams. I'm actually going to do a bit of a follow-up on that and remake the Elite Four teams. Now, I'm sure you thought that there may have been quite a few Elite Four teams that just didn't make sense. For example, Flint in Diamond and Pearl. What were you thinking? So, I decided to go over all of the Elite Four and try to remake their teams to the best of my abilities. Some of them were a bit trickier than others, because in some games, we didn't have enough types to match that type specialist. So, I did have to swap around some teams to best suit their personality, or stuff that makes sense based on maybe their Pokédex entry or maybe their nature. So it was tricky at first, but I think I've come to a decent conclusion. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, what you thought of my remakes of these teams, how you would remake some of the Elite Four teams, and if you have any video suggestions for the future, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's get into the video! Alright, the first region is Kanto. And obviously, I'm going to be starting off with Lorelei. Now, her team is pretty solid. I just personally think Slowbro does not fit well. Why? Because it's not an ice type. So I decided to swap around her team a little bit so that way it's purely ice type. That's why her ace will still be Lapras, but I'm also going to be throwing in another Cloyster. So yeah, she's going to run 2 Cloysters, plus the Jinx and the Dugong. I know that's not the most creative team in the world, but at the same time, it was the best that I could do. Like, I couldn't do any other repeats, and there aren't any other ice types apart from one, which is Articuno. And giving Lorelei a legendary bird just didn't make sense, because yes, the Elite Four are supposed to be challenging, but they aren't supposed to be running legendary Pokemon. Next up, we're going over Bruno. Now, Bruno, his team just doesn't make sense. Like, he always runs at least 1 Onix. And in the originals, he had 2. Which just doesn't make sense. Like, Bruno is a fighting type specialist. Why would he be running 2 rock types? That's why his brand new team is going to be his Machamp, as usual, plus the 2 Hitmons, and then I'm going to be throwing in Primeape and Poliwrath. That way, he actually has a purely fighting type team. Oh, and would you look at that? Had he had done this, he would have not only a pure fighting type, but pure fighting types from the Kanto region, which he could have done in the original games. What is wrong with you, Game Freak? Next up, we've been going over Agatha. Now, Agatha was a bit tougher to place, because she is a ghost/poison type specialist. So it was hard to decide which type to focus more on. So I decided to say, hey, make her a ghost type specialist. But it was difficult to do anything with her team. So literally all I did was replace the Arbok with a Marowak. Why? Because of the fact that Cubone's Pokédex entry states that his mother is dead and he wears the skull of its dead mother. So this could be an homage to the fact that this Marowak could be dead. And also the fact that if we did this in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, we could have given her the Alolan Marowak. That way it was actually a ghost type. Alright, the last one of the Kanto lot is going to be Lance. Now Lance is by far the trickiest one to do, because I don't like his original team, but I can't really give him anything else because of the fact that the only dragon types available are Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite. So I can't exactly give him 3 Dragonite and 2 Dragonair, or the other way around, because that would be so boring. So I decided to fiddle around with the team a little bit. So, his new team is going to be 1 Dragonite, which is the ace, a Dragonair, his Gyarados, his Aerodactyl, and a brand new member of the team, Charizard. it makes sense because Charizard looks like a dragon. It's literally a fire-breathing dragon. It looks like a dragon, and plus Lance did have one in the, not only the, what was it? Oh yeah, in the Champion Battle in Heart Gold Soul Silver, but he also had one in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu in Eevee. So I say, let's give him a Charizard. Now it's time to go on a Johto journey. Yep, we're going over to Gen 2 Elite Four next. And to kick things off, we've got Will. Now, it does annoy me a little bit that his only Gen 2 Psychic-type Pokemon are two stupid birds.
What?
Then the rest are from Kanto. So, I'm going to be redoing his team to make it a bit more Johto-based. That way we can show off the power of Johto. So, I'm going to be rearranging quite a lot of his team. The only team member that's staying is his ace, Xatu. And the other members I'm going to be adding are Slowking, Wobbuffet, Espeon, and Girafarig. That way he has a very good balance of power, offense, defense, and the power of Johto. Alright, next up we're going to be going over Koga. Now Koga, I'm going to do a bit of a mix and match of his team. Yeah, basically, he's going to have 4 Kanto Pokemon and a Johto Ace. Mainly because I couldn't find any decent poison types from Johto that I like the look of. So, his brand new team is going to be Crobat, Muck, Weezing, Venomoth, and I'm also going to be throwing a brand new member, Nidoking. I feel like we could do decent with a Nidoking. Plus, most of his team are all about poisoning the opponent and also making it hard to land a hit on them. So I feel like having a heavy hitter would also do decently well. Now it's time for Bruno, Johto Edition. The only thing I really changed about his team in the Johto games was take out his Onix and replace it with Heracross. At least that way, he had a bit more Johto Pokemon and a full team of fighting types. As for Karen, she had the ability to have a pure dark type team. And they didn't do it. Which annoys me to no end. So, that's why I'm giving her a purely dark type team. The only members on her original team that are staying the same are Houndoom, Murkrow, and Umbreon. The other two are going straight out the window. So for her new members, I'm going to be throwing in a Sneasel. Why? Because of the fact that in Heart Gold Soul Silver, when you can rematch her, she had a Weavile. So I feel like giving her a Sneasel makes sense. And the brand new member of the team is actually going to be her brand new ace. That being Tyranitar. Now I'm sure you think this is probably a tiny bit overkill, but we can underlevel the Tyranitar. Plus of the fact that, keep in mind, that Lance had a Dragonite in the Elite Four. So I say giving her a Tyranitar isn't exactly the end of the world. And now, just like the theme song, it's time for a brand new world to see. We're going to be going straight to Hoenn. Now, for the first member, we've got Sydney. And honestly, I can't really think of much to improve his team. So I decided to make his Emerald team the team that he uses in every single copy of the game. I know it's not exactly original, but I quite like his Emerald team. So let's give him his Emerald team for every single copy that Sydney is in. Now for Phoebe. Phoebe's team I actually did change. Not by much, because limited Pokemon, but I feel like I gave her a decent team. So her brand new team is going to be her Ace Sableye, 2 Dusclops, a Banette, and one Pokemon she hasn't actually used before. That being a Shedinja. I feel like it would be quite interesting to see an Elite Four member have a Shedinja, because of the fact that it can only get hit by super effective attacks. So that could be quite interesting in case a player decides not to have like a fire, a flying, or a ghost type Pokemon on their team. Next up is Glacier. Now, I did rearrange her team but I'm not exactly happy with the rearrangement. But I wasn't exactly happy with keeping it the same either, so I caved in and decided to give her the rearrangement. So all I really did was get rid of one of her Celio for a cast form. Why? Because of the fact that she loves to use Hail. So, the second a Pokemon uses Hail, cast form can come in and then become an Ice type. Not exactly the best idea in the world, but it's the best I've got. It was either that or give her a Regice. And as I said before, Elite Four members really shouldn't run legendary Pokemon. Now for Drake, and all I really did was give him his Emerald team. His Emerald team, I feel, is perfect the way it is. Time for a Battle Dimension. That's right, next up is Gen 4, the Sinnoh region. By far, some of my favourite Elite Four members. Now, when I made this team, I decided to go into it under the assumption that they made it possible to have the Platinum Pokedex in all copies of the game. Because I wanted to use the maximum amount of options possible. Okay? Okay. First up is Aaron, and his team is not exactly the best. Because of the fact in Diamond and Pearl, he ran a Beautifly and a Dustox. What were you thinking? Like, Beautifly was interesting because of the fact that in the anime, Beautifly was the very first Pokemon he ever called his own, but it's not really that powerful. Like, Dustox also really not that strong either. But as for his Platinum team, it was better, but I'm not exactly thrilled about it either. So, I decided to rearrange his team to make it a bit more interesting. That's why I'm giving his brand new team his Ace Drapion, Yanmega, Vespiquen, Mothim, and Heracross. This way he has a bit more Sinnoh bug types, plus I did hear that Mothim is decently strong. At least when these games first came out. I just personally not a big fan of Mothim, if I'm being totally honest. But I wanted to give him a more Sinnoh bug type team. So I didn't really have much of a choice but to give him Mothim. If it was my choice, I would have given him his Sizzle. But then that would be a copy-paste version of his Platinum team, and I'm trying to rearrange his team. So I had to cave in and give him Mothim. It was either that or Wormadam. And Mothim, I feel, was a better choice. Still don't like Mothim, though. That thing can go to hell. Next up, we have Bertha. And her team is quite interesting, at least in Platinum. But when we go to Diamond and Pearl, she's running a Sudowoodo. What? Have you checked Sudowoodo's typing? It's a rock type, not a ground type. I mean, I know it's been mistaken for a grass type in quite a few moments in the anime, but it is a goddamn rock type, not a ground type. That's why I'm going to be giving her purely a ground type team. That's why her new team is going to be her Ace Hippowdon, Rhyperior, Gastrodon, Gliscor, and Golem. This definitely brings out the pure power of ground types and Sinnoh as a whole. Next up, we have Flint. Now, Flint's a fire type specialist, as you may know. Let me just have a look at his team really quickly. Okay, he's got an Infernape. Okay. Ooh, Rapidash. Not exactly the best fire type in the world, but it's pretty good. Hang on. Is that a Steelix? I mean, I guess it lives in magma, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Hang on, is that a Drifblim? Okay, I guess it's a hot air balloon, and the hot air balloons require heat, so I guess that's... What?! Is that a Lopunny?! Why are you running a Lopunny?! There's only one way to describe this team, and that is... bullshit. So, I'm giving him his Platinum team, because at least then, he has a full team of fire types. As for Lucian, I'm giving him his Platinum team as well, because of the fact that I feel like his Platinum team is a lot stronger than his Diamond and Pearl team. Plus, it's the best I can do. Okay? Okay. Next up, we've got Unova. Now, the Unova Elite Four definitely needs some work. So that's why I'm going to give the games the Black and White 2 Pokedex. That way, I can actually do some decent damage with their teams. So first up, we have Chantal. And Chantal's team is going to be her regular Black and White team, plus the addition of the Drifblim she uses in Black and White 2. Because I believe that Elite Four members should have 5 members on their team, not 4. So that's why I'm going to be giving her an addition to her team, that being her Drifblim. Grimsley's going to be going over the same chain, really, because he's going to be having his Black and White team, plus the addition of Zoroark. I feel like he could do some decent damage with a Zoroark, because he has some heavy physical hitters, so let's give him a heavy special hitter, just to even things out. As for Caitlyn and Marshall's team, I decided to actually give them their Black and White 2 challenge team. So that way they have a decent variety of Pokemon and power, because no one's going to be messing with their teams anytime soon. Alright, now we're going to be going over the Carlos Elite Four. Now, if you didn't see my remaking of X and Y, I'll leave a link in the cards. Or that way, whichever way the cards are. I did remake their Elite Four teams in X and Y. So if you want to go see the full video, you can. But here I'm going to give a very, very brief rundown of how I would remake the Elite Four teams in X and Y. So, briefly, for Wickstrom, I decided to give him Klefki, Escavalier, Aegislash, Aggron, and his ace, Mega Scizor. For Drasna, I gave her Dragalge, Altaria, Haxorus, Noivern, and her ace, Mega Garchomp. For Seabold, I decided to give him Clawitzer, Sharpedo, Gyarados, Barbaracle, and his ace, Mega Blastoise. And for Malva, I decided to give her Pyroar, Talonflame, Chandelure, Rotom Heat, and her ace, Mega Houndoom. Alright, next up we have got the Alola region. Now, the Alola Elite Four definitely needed some work. And to give myself the maximum amount of options possible, I decided to combine Sun and Moon with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon's Pokedex and combine their island scans from both sets of the games. That way we have the maximum amount of options possible. So first up we have Hala, and his new team is definitely going to be a massive revamp because his team definitely needed a lot of work. It was weak. So his brand new ace is actually going to be quite a good one because it's no longer that crappy Crabominable. We have got Kommo-o as his new ace. Crabominable will still be on the team, but it's just going to be one of his Pokemon. The other members are going to be Hariyama, Beware, and a Speed Boost Blaziken from Island Scan from Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. For Olivia's team, this one's actually going to be quite interesting. Her ace is still going to be Lycanroc, but what's different is that she's going to have a different form of Lycanroc depending on which version you play. So, in Sun or Ultra Sun, she'll have Lycanroc midday. But in Moon or Ultra Moon, she'll have Midnight Lycanroc. Okay, so next we have her Probopass. Then we've got Cradily, Alolan Golem, and a brand new Pokemon, Minior. Because I think she needed something to cover, well, fighting type Pokemon. And before you say that Minior is someone else's Pokemon, I'm pretty sure it's Kahili's Pokemon. It's been a while since I've played the games. I decided to give Kahili some other new Pokemon, so yeah, Minior is going to be Olivia's Pokemon. Alright? Alright. So next up is Acerola. And she's going to be keeping her ace Palisand, and I'm also going to be giving her a Mimikyu as an homage to the anime. As another homage to the anime, she's going to be keeping her Gengar, aka Greedy Rapu. No idea why it's called that, but okay. And her other two Pokemon are going to be Delmise and Sableye. Alright, for Kahili's team, I'm going to be giving her Ace Toucannon, Oricorio, Crobat, Togekiss from Island Scan, and Hawlucha. And for the final Elite Four member, even though in this game it's really Elite 5, the final member is Molayne, because in Ultra and Ultra Moon, he was the Elite Four member instead of Hala. So, his team is going to be Alolan Dugtrio, Magnezone, Metagross, Aegislash from Island Scan, and Klinklang from Island Scan. And finally, we have Paldea. Now, obviously, the Galar region didn't have Elite Four members, unless you count the final 4 battles you had in the Pokemon League, even though they weren't really Elite Four members. I could redo their teams, but I'm not going to because they're not specifically classed as Elite Four. So, yeah, I didn't do them. As for Paldea, I'm giving them quite a makeover. Probably not exactly the best way to do it. I wanted to give them a team where the majority of their team is Pokemon from their specific region. That's how I like Elite Four members and gym leaders. Unless there's no other option, then that's a bit more understandable. And it is possible to give them a better team that corresponds to the region that they're from. So, here's what I've done. Probably not the best idea in the world, but I've done it anyway. First up, we have Rika. And I don't really know if Rika's a him or a her, but Rika's new team is going to be their Ace Clodsire, then it'll be Toedscruel, Great Tusk, or Iron Trez, depending on which version you play, Gastrodon, and Camerupt. As for Poppy's team, first off, why is she an Elite Four member? She's literally a child! She looks about, what, 5, 6? At a best? Like, why is she an Elite Four member? Child labour! Anyway, with that out of the way, her team is going to be her Ace Tinkaton, Revavroom, Kingambit, Bronzong, and Magnezone. I decided to give her this team, so that way it gives it diverse in types as well as stats. For Larry's team, his team's actually going to be quite interesting. I feel like this is a much better version of the team that he had in Scarlet and Violet. So his new team is going to be his Ace Flamigo, Kilowattrel, Bombarda, Staraptor, and Corviknight. And finally, we have Hassel. And his new team is going to be his Ace Baxcalibur, either Iron Jugulus or Roaring Moon, depending on which version you play. Yo guys, so my dumbass failed to remember that Iron Jugulus isn't a Dragon type anymore. So I'm just going to swap that version exclusive pairing just for Hydreigon, just so we have a full team of Dragon type Pokemon. Garchomp, Haxorus, and Dragalge. I know that I gave some of them Pokemon that you can find in Area 0, but keep in mind in the game it stated that Area 0 is limited to trainers who are either champion ranked trainers or trainers of similar ranking. So, or you can have special permission to go there. And I feel like the Elite Four would go there because they're probably champion level trainers or have champion rankings. And if they're Elite Four, they're definitely going to have permission to go there. So I feel like this would be a brilliant rendition of their team. And now that guys, hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Which Elite 4 member team was the best, which was the worst, how you would redo some of the Elite 4 teams, and if you have any video suggestions for the future, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Also guys, don't forget that I am going to be doing another subscriber goal, so when we get to 400 subscribers, I'm going to be doing 4 crazy ass dares, and I will not back out of them. So you can either tell me on Instagram, or maybe Twitter, TikTok, or maybe even in the comment section on any of my videos. Just let me know what dares you want me to do, and I'm not going to back out of them. I promise you that. Did you enjoy the video as much as I did making it? If you did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, share this video with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel. It's been Inferno today. Okay, that's all from me, so until the next time, this is Inferno, signing off. Bye!